CBS Atlanta News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Brandon Rudat. It is a hot topic among parents. Should you vaccinate your child? This morning on Public Affairs on Peach, we're talking about vaccine safety. The government recommends and many school systems require that children be vaccinated against diseases like measles, mumps, and polio. And the topic of vaccination is making headlines this week after thousands of people were exposed to the measles at a Super Bowl festivity. It was after Friday's festivities at the Super Bowl Village that a patient from Hamilton County went to the doctor feeling sick.
He or she was a very good clinician, was suspicious of the symptoms, took the blood test and sent them off to the lab to be verified. They were verified and we were notified.
State Health Commissioner Dr. Gregory Larkin says an investigation by an epidemiology team found that the person with measles did not go inside but stayed outside at the village. And that, he says, is good news.
When you're outdoors with the wind blowing and so forth, it's a less contagious atmosphere.
If you get the measles, symptoms will show up within a week, says Dr. Larkin. Those symptoms include fever, usually as much as 105 degrees, runny nose, red eyes, and a respiratory infection. But Larkin says your odds of getting the disease is very, very small, even if you were standing right next to the person with measles, so as long as you had at least one measles shot.
It's unlikely that you will need any additional protection. However, if there's a concern with you or your physician, they can do blood tests to verify your protection.
Over the holidays, Europe experienced a measles outbreak. More than 26,000 measles cases were diagnosed. In 2008, Georgia was one of 15 states to see the largest outbreak of measles in the U.S. in more than 10 years. 132 cases were diagnosed. And in 2009, incidences of pertussis in Georgia were on the rise with 230 cases, followed by 225 cases diagnosed in 2010. Pediatricians say that the most of these diseases can be avoided with a vaccine. Dr. Patrick O'Neill is the Director of Health Protection with the Georgia Department of Public Health. Dr. O'Neill, thank you for joining us this morning. Tell me in your words, is it important for children to be vaccinated?
Absolutely. I think that one of the most important things that public health has to offer these days is the ability to prevent or mitigate disease. I spent 32 years of my practice life treating diseases and injuries. I'm now in a 10-year cycle of trying to prevent diseases, and that's the role of public health. We really have the opportunity through vaccines to prevent so many illnesses that can even be fatal.
Some people would say, your reaction first off to the measles outbreak, if you will, or thousands of people being exposed to measles at a Super Bowl event.
I personally don't think that the risk is terribly high in that type of a setting because of the fact that you've got a lot of openness there, and you also have a lot of folks that have been immunized in the past and have immunity to the disease.
But did it surprise you that there was somebody there that had the measles to begin with at that age?
Yes, it does surprise me, and to a degree, although I'm becoming, I guess, less surprised because I'm aware that there are increasing issues, even here in Georgia, with individuals who are not getting immunized. And the opportunity is there, so we really need to do a better job of educating the public to the value of those immunizations.
Why would a child not be immunized? Why wouldn't they get the vaccine for the measles?
I think there are probably a lot of reasons, but generally it's a parent's decision as to whether they get the vaccine or not. And some parents will refuse to have their children immunized on grounds that it's against their religious belief. Some are concerned that there is danger in immunizations and the vaccine itself and don't let their children be vaccinated because they are afraid that something terrible will happen as a result of the vaccine.
Have you seen in your medical profession a case where somebody has gotten a vaccine, children have gotten vaccines, and because they got that vaccine, their body reacted negatively toward it?
Oh, certainly. I think that it's very common to have a degree of a negative reaction to a vaccine, but the degree is very minimal. It's not uncommon at all to have a little bit of soreness around the immunization site if it's an injection. It's not uncommon sometimes to have a mild fever afterwards.
Long-term effects I'm talking about.
But I've never seen a significant long-term effect in virtually 40 plus years of practice.
So why do you think, albeit putting religious beliefs aside, why would a parent sit here and say, I'm not allowing my children to get all the vaccines? There are too many out there.
I think probably there is a lot of concern among many parents because disease processes change over time. And there's certain illnesses that are becoming much more apparent now than they have in the past. A lot of folks wonder if those increases in those types of problems is coming because of something that we are exposing children to. We don't have any evidence right now in the scientific community that it's coming from our vaccines. And yet there are folks that are fearful of preservatives in the vaccine, for example, thimerosal, and wonder if that could be responsible for creating some of these problems that we're seeing now. And I think that's probably the fear factor that's out there, is because of the prevalence of certain things that we didn't used to see very much of, or at least we were not so aware of in the past.
Can you give me an example? I'm unaware of something that may be out there right now that a parent may say, that's the reason why I don't want my child to get a vaccine.
I think there are several things. You may have seen recently some concerns that parents have expressed about a condition like Down syndrome that has not been very prevalent, and that some parents are concerned may be related to exposures that children have, and vaccine is just one possibility that they're raising as a cause. We don't have any evidence to support that, but I think the fear is out there in the community. There are other things as well that basically show up with various types of mental disturbances that are now more prevalent in children. At least we're diagnosing them more now than we did in the past, and parents are wondering why. What's it coming from?
And in the 40-plus years you've had in experience with this, you still recommend that all children get the vaccines?
Absolutely. I think that the danger of these diseases is so far in excess of the potential risk, which is infinitesimally small from these vaccines, that the smartest thing a parent can do is to insist on immunizations for their children.
All right, Dr. O'Neill, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up next, both sides of the issue. Should we be more concerned about vaccine safety, or does the risk of injury to one child outweigh the benefits to thousands others? Stay with us.